I am your host with the locks that rocks, the host of the official podcast of Rocklahoma, Surviving Rocklahoma. And as we wind down the main stretch of the road to Rocklahoma, I am joined by one of the legends that you will see this weekend, the man, the myth, legend, Sebastian Bach.
All right. What a cool show this is.
I appreciate it, man. You've played Rocklahoma several times actually, and I was just kind of curious before we get into things. Do you have any like favorite moments or favorite trips to
I
prior?
have lots of memories. I believe that 2025 will be I think the fourth time I've played Rocklahoma, maybe the third. I mean, I don't know, man. It's been going on so long, Rocklahoma. So
Yeah,
it's
I
either
think
the
it's your
third or
fourth
the fourth
actually.
time.
Yes.
And Rocklahoma was one of the first festivals, if not the first, to combine artists of all eras, like 70s, 80s, 90s till now, all on one festival. Because a lot of the times they put like each genre in its own festival. But Rocklahoma was the first one in America that I can think of that would put a band like me with Five Finger Death Punch. It's rare for a band from who started when I started to be on these festivals like the Danny Wimmer presents, and it's just kind of starting to happen. But Rocklahoma was doing that 30, 20 years ago from the get-go, and they're still doing it. So credit where credit's due for Rocklahoma being the first festival in America to combine all the genres together. And I can't wait to do it again. This Thursday, we're playing a headline show with Lita Ford playing with us, and I'm sure a bunch of other cool bands, but I'm really looking forward to it. I love playing there. I hope it's not going to rain, and I hope my microphone's turned on when I run out there. And if you know, you know.
I know. I know. I
I
think I
have
was in
to
the audience on that one.
stop. Oh, okay. Well, you can ask me about that when you want, but
Well, and
that's definitely a memory from Rocklahoma.
I think you handled
Here's
it
me.
well,
Here's
my
me.
friend.
Here's a coffee cup of me that second when I ran out there. The picture of me.
You know, you were talking a bit about, they've been doing this forever, and you're absolutely right. And this year they're celebrating the community as they are now self-produced through Prior Creek Music Festivals, and they are independent, doing everything themselves. And this year they are proclaiming this is our Rocklahoma. And this is something that we love to do, and we love to celebrate artists of all genres. And
Yes.
hopefully, everybody is exposed to a variety of sound and a variety of incarnations of rock music. Can you tell me a little bit about how playing with these other artists have changed your sound over the years?
Well, that doesn't change my sound. It's like AC/DC said. They're like, "Oh, people accuse you of doing the same song over and over a million times," and Angus Young goes, "Oh, they're wrong. It's a million and one." I
Why
love that.
mess with it if it works?
All I try to do is make albums that fit into my catalog, like Rush. Well, even Rush would throw keyboards in there, which is crazy. But my new record, Child Within the Man, is so well received by everybody that's heard it. I've never heard one bad thing about my new record. This is the best thing I've ever heard by him. And like when I get ready for a show like Rocklahoma, I make a set list on my digital music player, which is a Pono Neil Young thing that he invented. I don't listen to MP3s or I listen to high res music files or vinyl. So I make a set list of the set playlist of the set, and then I sing the whole thing. And it's so I'm getting songs from the first Skid Row album, Slave to the Grind, all the way up to Child Within the Man, and the production and the sound of my new record, without being disparaging to anything else I've done, but the sound of the new album crushes what I've done in the past. And so that inspires me to keep making more new music. And the song, particularly, What Do I Got to Lose, is the closest thing that I've had to a hit on the radio in 35 years. So I didn't even know that it was possible for a guy from my era to get a song on the radio in 2024, but I did. It was the number one most added song on FM radio in America the week it came out. And I was like, what? Wow, I wasn't expecting that. And the video is almost 2 million plays now on YouTube. And in my day, that was called double platinum. So I'm very happy to have 2 million plays on that video.
Congratulations, man.
You can't argue with those kind of numbers.
No, you can't. And I mean, that's a testament, that rock and roll is eternal, man. It never fades, never dies. I'm
Well,
glad you brought up your new album, Child Within the Man. It's a huge deal. What does it feel like to have this album out, especially with the success of a song like What Do I Got to Lose, like you've been mentioning?
well, it just inspires me to keep going forward and keep creating. I have an incredible record label. People are like, "You don't need a record label." Yes, you do, actually. If you want to do it in your basement on a fax machine, that's one thing. But if you want to make like an impact around the world globally, you do need a team of people to help you. And I have a great record company, Reigning Phoenix Music. And my management is incredible. They keep me so busy that it's hard for me to keep up with what I'm doing every day. Um, so I'm very busy, and in my business, that's a very good thing. So what does it feel like? Just makes me want to make more music. And I gotta address this, especially in the last like 3 months or so. We're entering this AI world where musicians are getting very scared because now it seems like anybody can just say into an AI prompt, give me a 70s rock song about partying and chicks, and there you go, you get one. But all I can tell you is this: you've known me for almost 40 years, and I'm just giving you my guarantee and my word that I'll never do that. I will never give you any AI, and I won't even give you I. And I certainly won't give you A.
You know,
What
and
I'm saying, I'd rather have a real human mistake than a perfect artificial intelligence. Fuck artificial, number one. How about real? That's what you're going to get from me till the day that I stop doing this. And I don't know how to use that stuff. And I won't work with any producers that use that. You're just going to get some knucklehead musicians in the studio making music, and that's what you're going to get from me. Like Neil Young or Willie Nelson or Greg Allman. That's what you're going to get from me till the day I stop doing this. And so I don't have to worry about AI, because if you believe what I'm telling you, then what you're going to get from me is just me, like love it or leave it.
I'm actually glad you brought that up. And, I've in podcasting, I am part of another evolution. So, like, radio came out and then MTV killed radio, and then podcasts are coming out and it's a new form of radio. So, as an artist that was came back in, back in your day, and it's changed so much. Do you do you feel like music is going away or a threat
No,
of losing its soul?
no. I mean, I can only speak for myself, and I did 91 cities last year. 91. So with travel days and days off, that's like 225 days that I'm gone playing rock and roll. So I get more than enough rock in my life. So I can only speak for me. I have such a schedule of concerts coming up that I am overwhelmed. And so I don't know how to answer that other than I'm going to be playing all over America. We're going to Australia. We've got gigs booked into 2026 already. So it just keeps rolling. And I got to answer this by when we lose a guy like Ozzy Osbourne and so many of our heroes are leaving us. I mean, I look around and there's not many guys that do what I do. There's not. There's not. I mean, you could count them. There's not many guys that are running out there with their microphone turned off. I just,
Do you feel like they got
I
it
just
easier
keep
than you
thinking about
did?
that. Huh?
Do you feel like they have it easier today than you did?
Well, yeah. I mean, one of the reasons I remember when Neil Peart of Rush passed on. It really hit me so hard. And I was like, why? Well, I knew because I'm a Rush fanatic and I always have been. I'm Canadian, number one, so it's part of my DNA. But really what it came down to, I think why I was so sad was because I don't think we're ever going to see a drummer on that level ever again because none of them are going to put in the time to practice that much as Neil Peart did because he didn't have the benefit or the crutch of technology to rely upon, which all these kids are having click tracks and all this stuff in their head. I don't think we're going to see a drummer the level of Neil Peart from Rush ever again. Maybe we will, but he didn't have any other choice in the 70s other than to lock himself in a room and pound the fuck out of those fucking drums. And he was the best, you know? So that's why I think, like, a lot of me says to me, why did we as humans, why did we invent this AI shit that has the potential to take us out? Why invent that? Like, I mean, I guess it's good for medical purposes, maybe, curing cancer or something, but we don't need them to write songs for us or like that's stupid. We don't need to have a meme of Michael Jackson and Ozzy and Dimebag Darrell in heaven having a drink. Fuck all that weird shit. That just gives me the creeps when I see that. It's like, get that off the screen. It's like from hell or something.
I've often wondered how folks that have, we'll just say, the musical class that you guys had, um, and now that you're seeing some of those go away, how the remainders feel about things like that being shared on the internet. Not to get down that rabbit hole, but I gotta admit it, there's a part of it, it's like, man, that's kind of sacrilegious.
It is. It's really creepy and really weird, and I don't understand the point of it. That you just hit it on the head, sacrilegious. Like there's a saying, rest in peace. Like don't rest with memes being made of you. But that's not the way. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest with the stuff I see going on.
Sure.
And we're playing Rocklahoma, and thank the Lord that we're playing Rocklahoma, which is just the audience and the bands, and hopefully not the rain. But this is what music is all about. And that's the one thing that computers cannot do. They can't replace setting up a tent in Pryor, Oklahoma, and hoping it doesn't rain and going out and seeing your favorite bands and having a beer with your friends and your family and, singing music together with people you don't even know and having that feeling of community. That's one thing that no computer will ever be able to replicate. And that goes back to the days of being a caveman when we would huddle around the fire with a drum and a drumstick made out of animal's bone, and we'd be like, gung, 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 ah, dun, 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 dun. That's what I would be doing Thursday night in Oklahoma. only with amplification.
Right. Well, and I think that's a great place to leave that topic, actually. And I love that you bring up the Rocklahoma and the community and stuff. That's something that I've personally come from, and it's just a supportive group of people that if you put your heart into it and you do things for the right reasons, and you're being a good person to the community, they will support you and lift you up. And did you run into very many communities like that over the years as you were um, coming up and getting established initially versus like now where you're touring and headlining?
Well, as far as communities go, before the internet, each city had its own rock community. So I started out in Toronto, which was a very incredible rock scene. Which I played in bars before I was of age to be in a bar. I was I was making money playing bars when I was 14, 15. And I was 6'4" with my hair all teased up and all this makeup on, and nobody knew how old I was. Um, so, you know, the one thing that anybody will tell you is that the one thing that the internet did was homogenize the whole world. So, like when we started in Skid Row, we were lucky enough in '89 to play like Russia, every country in Europe, obviously, like Italy. We went to Australia, Brazil, all like in the year '89, in '90. And let me tell you, Japan in '89 was different than Japan in 2025. It was really Japan.
Right.
Like Australia was Australia. It wasn't, I can't describe this. Italy was Italy. Like I can't, I always think about this. Being in Italy in some rural town, we opened up the whole Motley Crue Dr. Feelgood tour, 1989, every show in Europe. And I remember '89, we played the Palatrusardi in Milan with Motley Crue, and it was a bicycle track. And I was in Vince Neil's dressing room, and we heard these girls like talking, but there was no girls in the room. And we look around and go, where the fuck is that sound coming from? And these chicks had crawled through the walls and were in the walls, like behind
What?
the drywall. Yes, in Vince's dressing room, trying to get in. Like that's how crazy it was. And I remember being in my hotel room, and it was a day off in some very remote rural Italian city. And I just woke up, and my hotel room was so different than anything I had experienced, like ornate. Just everything was beautiful. And I opened up the window and I looked out, And it was all these restaurants with all these families and music happening. And I went down into the street, and all these families were at the restaurants with their dogs and stuff. And the food was just crazy. Nobody's looking at their phone, everybody's talking to each other. I just have these memories. I'm trying to describe it in my brain, but the feeling back then was that each city and each country even had its own rock community. Um,
I
I have a
love that.
I have a Van Halen bootleg from the first tour from Oklahoma. What's the name of it? Do you know what I'm talking about? I got it somewhere in
Oh,
Oklahoma. The
I don't
first
have
album,
that one, but
I mean, it's right over here. Hang on. This is not it. This is live at Wichita, Kansas. What is going on with this?
it's your I think it's your background. Keep yeah. We get flashes of it.
Whatever. Anyway, my point is that each city had its own community, and especially like Los Angeles, obviously, and New Jersey had its own thing going on. New York City had its own thing going on, obviously London and the UK. So like each city had its own vibe, its own radio stations, its own DJs. It wasn't like one thing across the nation. But I will say now, like Sirius XM is incredible for a guy like me. Like the fact that there's a national radio service that everybody has in their car, that you can hear me sing on there 5 times a day if you want, like, or more. Like I'm on there all the time. So to me, that's mind blowing. Getting in the car in 2025 and putting on Sirius, and the new album cover comes up on the display, and the song blasts through the speakers. And I thank you, Sirius XM, for existing. It's pretty good.
I love that you still get that thrill. That I'm glad that
I
that
never,
never
I
goes
never get,
away.
I never get over hearing myself on the radio. There's a certain thrill. You look around at the cars, and you go, I wonder how many other cars are listening to this right now. You
Right,
know you're not the
jamming
only
out at the
one.
red light.
That's right.
You know, you've talked about a bit about your Child Within the Man, the new album, and you also mentioned working with some other artists, one of which we'll be playing this weekend, Orion Thee. John Five has played in the past. I see you also worked with Steve Vai. What was it like bringing
No,
your
Steve
unique
Stevens. Steve Stevens.
to what?
Steve Stevens.
Oh, I'm sorry, Steve Stevens. My
Mhm.
bad. Um, but what was it like,
Well,
combining
you
those
talk about
originally?
Orianthi. I think it's pronounced Orianthi, and we did a
Okay.
song called "Future of Youth,"
Hmm.
um, which is so badass. That I love the song. It started when my wife Suzanne and was friends with Orianthi, and she said Sebastian's putting together some new demos. Do you have any riffs? And Orianthi just sent this riff. I go, that's all I need. That's all I need is a riff. All I need is a riff and a cowbell, and I'm good to go.
More cowbell,
Oh,
always.
there's a lot of cowbell on my new album. If you're into
Yes,
that, tons of it.
something for
So
everybody.
that's right. And then we shot an incredible video with Jim Louveau, and that video is almost 1 million plays right now as well. So, and I gotta say, Orianti's lead section in the song "Future Youth" is so badass. That's the word. It is such a vibe and so cool. And we do this song at every show. We do it. It's a great song. And I have a bass player named Fede Delfino, who's the only guy I've ever been in a band with that can sing like Sebastian Bach. He's very talented. My point being is that you'll see at Rocklahoma that me and Fede have an incredible vocal thing happening where he is able to sing in my range, which allows me to take a breath once in a while. Wow, what a concept. So when he helps me out singing, I have more power for all those screams that everybody is like, is he gonna do that? Is he gonna hit that? I
Yeah.
don't know. Then I'll hit that motherfucker.
Hold on. Let me turn the mic on. Okay. You're good.
So I mean, I know people come to see me perform to see if I'm going to hit the note at the end of "I Remember You." The child blew a child away, fingers to the bone. There's these certain notes that I hit that are like stumps.
Do you,
and you know, thank the Lord we don't tune our guitars down. We have zero backing tapes. We don't have a click track. We're just four guys. And I don't know if you know this, but my drummer is my son, Paris Bach. My son plays the drums. And, you know, we talked before about Neil Peart and how I felt like we're not going to see another drummer like that. Well, when we were all locked down in the pandemic, I built a drum hut on my property because drums are loud and my son was playing all the time. And so I listened to my son play the drums every day in that pandemic for like 8 hours a day to the point of like, dude. So at the same time, Wolfgang Van Halen came out, and you know Eddie put Wolfgang in Van Halen, and then Wolfgang's own solo career is so remarkable and incredible. And so, and I'm listening to my son play all day. And see, here's the thing: you can't teach a musician how to rehearse. They either do it or they don't. And that either comes from within or they're like, I don't need to rehearse. Well, maybe you don't need to rehearse, but I do. What just happened? Oh my God.
batteries?
Oh yeah. Hang on. God damn it. Okay, that's way too bright. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Okay.
I've got one of those too.
This is a different light. But the one I was using, yes, the batteries went out.
Oh, that one works good.
Is this all right?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. Thank you. You look good too,
Well,
Adam.
thank you, sir. It's all the alcohol. It helps.
All right. Hey. Is that what you're drinking? I'm drinking coffee.
You know, you were talking a bit about your son playing for you. Can you tell me a little bit about how that is as an experience for you, as now you've got your kid behind you as you're off and you're doing the crazy tour life and you're doing all of these gigs and such, and he's along in a passenger seat for the ride.
Well, you know, I mentioned before that last year I did 91 cities. And when you're gone from home that long, there's a price to pay. You miss out on events like birthdays, graduations. I was not at my son's graduation way back in 2006 or something. And so I was at my daughter's graduation this year because you only have so many kids and you only have so many graduations. So out of all the events and times I've missed with my own son, now we're in a band together. So we're always together on the road, which is great. So I'm kind of making up for lost time. And the thing is, if he screws up this next song, after the show, I'm going to go make him mow the lawn.
The punishment just, yeah, I got
Yes,
so many new
either
ways of
or
enforcing.
if he messes up this show, he's going to be sent to the tour bus with no dinner. What do you think of that kind of parenting?
All right, son, no groupies for you tonight.
No groupies, son. You were late on that drum fill, sweet little sister.
And as a proud father myself, my daughter's going into the same career I left when I retired. And it is so crazy now seeing her coming up and learning things and the new conversations we have now that you can understand it, but once you're doing it, there's a whole other level of connection. Do you find that you run into that?
Well, I didn't know if my son could handle the road because the road is very challenging mentally and physically, like extremely. I never knew when I was a kid, well, I'm going to be in a band. I didn't realize when I was a kid that being in a band is being an athlete. If you're out of shape or your back is messed up or you're sore, you're not going to want to be running around the stage or getting on a plane for 10 hours, or you have to be ready physically and mentally to go on the road. So the first tour I did with my son, I had him come out for a couple weeks, and then I would get another guy, and then he would come out again, and then he proved that he could handle it. And I didn't want to buy all those plane tickets. So I said to Paris, you're in. And, there's a John Lennon song called uh, uh, um, I don't, a beautiful boy. Well, my son, beautiful boy. And it goes, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. And there's a lot of drummers that I want to play with. My drummer, Bobby Jarzombek, is now the drummer for George Strait. So he plays stadiums with Willie Nelson and Carrie Underwood opening up for him, which is mind blowing. Plus, Bobby's from Texas. So when you're a musician that is from Texas and you're George Strait's drummer, that's like being Ringo Starr in Liverpool. Like he's like, you know, the
Right.
top of his profession. And I
For
talk I talk to Bobby all the time, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll play gigs with you," but he's always busy, and
Yeah.
Paris is always here for me. So let's hear it for Paris.
Yes. You know what? I've got a studio audience. We're going to use them. There we go.
Yay! All right.
That's super awesome, dude. I could go off on this for hours. I know you've got limited time, so let's talk just a little bit more about Rocklahoma. You said you're going to be headlining on Thursday. This is going to be
Yeah.
on the DEB concert stage inside of the Roadhouse.
And
Huge
hang
shout
on,
out
I believe that
to it.
stands for Doug Burgess, right? And thank you, Doug Burgess, for making this show happen on Thursday night with me and Lita Ford. Who else is playing? Do you know?
We've also got some locals that
Okay.
are going to be playing that one. I
All
should
right.
have the lineup up and memorized, but this is what you get what you pay for, and I do this all day long. I can pull that up. But yeah, we are so excited to see you this coming Thursday. And a lot of us we always go hard the first night.
Yeah.
So
That's
you
the
are
first night, right?
it is. You guys are
Good.
going to be kicking off. And then once we're done and hung over and waking up and trying to figure out where we're at, and we're okay, now for day one.
There you go. Well, don't party too hard.
Yes, sir. So, you know, um, I like to wrap up any interview that I do by connecting the fans with the storytellers. And so Sebastian, if you would, I'd like to give you a couple of minutes just to look directly at the camera and, talk to your fans, the people who are going to be watching you this Thursday at Rocklahoma, and the people who's been following you all these years.
I'd like to thank everybody coming to Rocklahoma this Thursday for 36 years. 36 years of rock and roll. First album came out in 89. It's now 2025. I'm really good at math. And I would just say that we're very lucky to be here, man. When I look at Ozzy Osbourne and his last ever show that he ever did, and then a week later he was no longer with us, that's how quick life can pass you by. That's how precious that concert was, that I was still recuperating from that concert when Ozzy left the building. And we have a chance at Rocklahoma to have our own concert together and be together with our friends and have a great time the end of summer. And so I would say we're very lucky, all of us, to be together, rocking together, when so many of us are checking out or can't make it because of their health or their situation. Or, I'm just saying, I don't take anything for granted anymore. After being locked up for all those years and wondering if we'd ever get to do this again, now we're doing it. We're doing it this weekend, Rocklahoma. This is our Rocklahoma. And I can't wait to come rock with you guys.
Beautiful, man. I well said. I think that's the best place that we could possibly end it. I want to thank you again for your time. And we are so excited to see you here in a couple of days. We
Thank you,
appreciate you.
brother. Thank you, Adam.
Absolutely.
And if you never told me at the beginning of this interview that you were deaf, I would never have known that at all. So I don't know what you're doing with your speak. You don't. I would never have ever guessed that in a million years. There's nothing different about the way you talk or anything. You sound great. It was great talking to you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. It was
Right
very
on.
recent. And I was going to share the story once we cut off the air, but I'll go ahead and share it for everybody in the interview as well. Most of my fans know that I've been dealing with Meniere's disease for about 20 years. Took my hearing in 2015 in my right ear. And when I found out, and they said, yes, you will be losing your hearing.
Oh,
My wife, I'm sure she probably regrets it now, but suggested, hey, you ought to go to Rocklahoma, get some bands in, because I've always been a concert junkie. And so my goal was going in and seeing getting exposed to as many bands as fast as I could before, fate took hold. And so I launched this podcast in 2015, got media, grown it. We're now the official podcast of the festival. This year we'll be making our debut on Radio Row. And 2 years ago, I lost my hearing in my left ear. And so, from doing the podcast, my career in IT, I've just adapted. I've got a transcriber here. So, that's how I'm reading everything you've said to me. So,
well,
it's when you love doing something, you adapt. And I mean, the drummer for Def Leppard's got one arm, right?
so there you go. There you go. And I
But
can't. I
a
can't
lot
hardly
of what you've
see.
said is really connected, and that's why I was originally going to share that story with you because I agree with pretty much everything you said to the letter.
Well, we're lucky to be here, man. We're lucky to be here. We're lucky. That's all I can say. I'm lucky. We're all lucky to be here. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
think of Brent, the guitar player from Mastodon. I mean, he would like to be at Rocklahoma. But I mean, it's unbelievable how quick things can change. I'm sure Brent Hines did not see that coming. Oh, well, I know he didn't. So, I mean, we're all lucky to be here, man. Let's rock. Let's have a good time.
Yes, sir.
Good talking to you, Adam. Hope to see you on Thursday.
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
for Sebastian Bach, I'm Adam Richmond. This is the official podcast of Rocklahoma, Surviving Rocklahoma. And until next time, rock on.